Oh, gotta go.
See ya.
It's Flandre, gotta fight Charlotte, Flandre.
Yes.
Saturday.
Greetings,
Anyway,
ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I'm Spastic, and here with us we have these
A lot of
guys.
people.
Check.
Us.
Us random people again, you know. The
Yeah.
usual
Just
sweet
floating
secret.
disembodied heads. The
Most
special
importantly-
guest Steve-O the human.
We're gonna read
Really
ourselves Mind the
I'm
Gap,
Crystal.
Chapter 10, by Ch10. Who's here?
Chapter 10 and 11, because there's one issue with these two chapters that I want to bring up, that I will bring up when it becomes apparent.
Alrighty.
Alright, and to anyone who doesn't know, I am Chibi Chen, or on Skype, I'm Momiji. Real name's Roy, I'm the writer of the fic. Whoop-de-doo.
Alright.
Alright, starting with Chapter 10, SSDD. Before I start, does anyone not know what that means?
I
don't. Super secret dick duck?
Wow.
It means, it actually means same shit,
different day.
different day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just pick
And,
style
wow,
of the story.
this
Same
this
shit,
is
different
a
day.
great start. This is a great start. I haven't even started reading, and I noticed a typo.
Alright.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Let's go.
Yes.
I know that feeling.
Okay. Is that my sound? I hear an echo from someone.
That's
I hear
probably
it
me.
too.
I have to have my stereo mix on so I can talk and record at the same time.
Ah, I
Let's
see.
just.
Okay.
Moving along.
Moving along. The moment they entered the Tengu village, the outlook was dark, and the mood darker. Buildings had fallen, broken and blasted to rubble. This was the power of Don Maku. The power to break buildings, burn trees to cinders, yet leave human, yokai, and everything between alive and well. It was hard for Isaac to know how he felt about this.
Okay, don't explicitly state that the mood was dark.
That
I
is
mean
a stylistic
between
choice.
characters. The
Yeah, that is a
character
stylistic
moods were
mistake.
dark.
Yeah. Go on.
Most of the village was in ruins as they flew by. Destruction, Isaac said, having gone to sitting on the broom to give his feet a rest from standing. "What's up, newbie?" Marissa said as she pulled back a little, noticing he was looking down. "Just taking in the scenery," he said, casting a hand out, gesturing towards the once colorful and intact buildings. "Yeah, Danmaku isn't a perfect system, but we found that it's much safer than anything else. People don't often die in incidents because of spell cards. Losing a life?" Marissa paused. "I asked an old friend of mine what dying was like once." Isaac lifted his head from looking to the ground at that. "Really?" he said, his voice sounding a bit more surprised than he really was. "Yeah, and from what she would tell me before sending me away," she took a long pause. It's not a thing I'm eager to experience,"
I have a question.
said, looking down, remembering her old friend. "Yeah?"
Is she referring to Mima?
"Yes."
Nice touch.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's actually very, very clever.
Well done.
Isaac let the topic drop, remembering the look from when his parents had to go through his grandparents dying. There was nothing to say, and the only cure for that look is thought. Deep, often very saddening thought. Is saddening a word?
Yep,
Saddening? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just
that was
checking.
a saddening experience.
Yes, it's checking. With a small nod, he moved up towards Reimu, watching as she effortlessly scanned the destruction for something or other. "Alright, Isaac?" she asked, glancing up to him, then back to her search. "Yeah, just thinking, I suppose." Reimu shifted, making herself a little more vertical. "About?" she asked, as she shifted, looking as if she was about to start grinding her teeth. That close to Isaac was drawing her anger out, as it had done before. Oh, that echo is starting to annoy me. I'm sorry.
Who's echoing?
You.
No,
Yeah, I
my mic
think
is off.
me.
I set my mic off.
Okay, then okay, who does not have their Steam muted?
I think
I
it was,
can't- It
Sturm.
was Sturm. Yeah, I got him off.
Okay. Thanks. I'm sorry, that was just bugging the crap out of me.
Yeah,
This
all right.
is actually quite good so far.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told you.
I agree.
Okay, where was I?
You know,
Oh,
Has anyone died?
no, it really puts a lot of gravity on death. Unlike that other fic.
Yes.
Just, just, has anyone actually died from this Danmaku stuff? He asked, putting air quotes around the word. Raymond sighed and closed her eyes for a moment. I could tell you, but you might not like the answer. Heads up, we got company. Raymond pointed towards Marissa. Pointed just behind Marissa, sorry. Where 3 fairies were tailing them. Wonderful. Marissa, heads up. We have 3 bogeys on our tail, Isaac shouted. He chuckled a little, then reached into his bag. He'd always wanted to say that.
I can't help but feel like I can't help but think of bogeys and boogers. I'm sorry.
That seems
Just
like a
because I'm a
good trade.
terrible-minded person.
I know about bogeys.
I guess it's a good way for him to try and lighten up his mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to lighten up all their moods.
She. Unless you're going with the Ravens, never mind. I'm not gonna finish that statement.
Yeah. The dog
Well,
fight
it was
started
more for
there.
him.
The dog fight started from there. The three of them pulling together before going off into different directions as more fairies showed up. Reimu broke off to the left, Marissa to the right, leaving Isaac to go down the main street of the Tengu village. Keep up if you can, Isaac yelled out, jumped to his feet, surfing on the broom once again, explosives in hand. He had 2 grenades and quite a few of the black discs. Isaac wouldn't touch the C4 for now, not after what he had heard about it. That's kind of noodle incident. I might need to explain that one better, but he's heard of C4 before he came to Gensokyo.
I can't help but feel like would it be like to surf on a broom? It feels very like dangerous as a fact. Broom.
What I'm thinking is it's like walking on a tightrope, except you're stationary.
I actually do surf, and
I've surfed before, and I don't think I'll do it again because it was not a very enjoyable experience. Let's just say I hit my head against some coral, and yeah.
Ouch. Ooh.
same, except it was a sandbar.
Well,
Worst day I got. Sorry.
You
Okay.
live in you live in the middle of Texas. How did you surf?
I actually went to Florida during hurricane season and surfed, and I have it on video during a hurricane while the sharks were out.
Oh, hi.
Nice.
There was a red flag and
Anyway.
a purple flag.
Anyway,
Um,
back to the story.
Go
Go ahead.
It
Toss
seems like
one-
Oh, wait.
Tossing.
Tossing 1 grenade behind him, Isaac turned the broom so he was angled more towards the sky, letting the fairies follow him into the sky, the tail end of the swarm that had gathered being engulfed in the blast. Got you, you little... Whoa! Isaac yelled as he was nearly hit by a giant wave of Danmaku. The remaining fairies were not too happy about his explosives. That set off the chase, about 20 fairies right behind him as he weaved in and out of broken buildings, nearly crashing when it came to making a sharp turn or stopping on a dime to avoid hitting something. The shots behind him didn't help, as they seemed to always be going faster than him. He had to watch his front and the back, and the one time he stopped watching his front for a moment, he felt himself enter freefall, lurching forward and down towards the ground. A Danmaku shot had hit the broom, shattering it right out from under Isaac's feet, leading him to land on the ground, tumbling end over end as his body rid itself of momentum.
Wait, is he like right above the ground?
Never really established a height of how high he's flying.
You might
but
wanna,
he's weaving through buildings, so it's high enough.
You still might want to.
Actually, it could be low, because, as I've said, the Tengu village is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Still, I would diverse on that a little bit because there could be he's tumbling towards the ground where he's freaking mutilated by impact, or there's tumbling on the ground where he just does a fair round.
Tumbling end over end as his body rid itself of momentum. So he hit the ground and was rolled.
Oh,
Still, I would diverse how high he was.
I'll think about it when I'm editing everything.
Remember, write these down.
No, that's why I'm happy Spaz records these, because I'm just going to go back and listen to all of these when I'm editing everything.
All right.
Anyway, want to move on? Alrighty.
It wasn't long before he slammed into a small rubble wall, yelping out in pain as he lost the last of his momentum. It took a little bit to stand, and by that time, the fairies were all around him. Well, damn it. Isaac cursed and took a step back, his back to the wall. I'm sorry, Serena, he whispered to himself, looking over the things that would be his killers. Freaking fairies would kill him. Either that, or that thing approaching at high speeds. Blinked, then smiled. He reached into his bag, then threw something into the air as someone grabbed his outstretched arm. The fairies never stood a chance against the block of C4, detonated in the middle of them after Marisa saved him. Nice save, Marisa, Isaac said, putting the detonator back in his pack again. You owe me. Let's go. We need to meet up with Reimu again. She should be finished with that yokai now. She smiled as Isaac climbed up onto the broom.
It seemed pretty casual, Isaac doing something pretty out of character there.
What do you mean?
He
set
seems
up
pretty
the
easygoing
C4.
about it.
Yeah,
He was easy going about setting off the C4, even though he had bad experiences with C4.
he's never had a bad experience. He just heard about it. I should probably clarify that one. The reason he's hesitant about touching it is because he's heard that C4 has a fairly large blast radius. So unless he's far enough away, he's not going to touch it.
maybe you should add in a line that involves, it's like, okay, it's time to use this.
Yeah.
And also, he did say at the beginning, like earlier in the story, that he had only heard about C4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he does a demonstration of that with Netort.
But Steve, have you read this entire thing?
No, this is my first night hearing about this.
Yeah.
Steve-O, I would suggest reading the rest of the fic because there are...
Okay, I will.
It's
I
great.
told you
I'm
at the
not-
beginning
I'm
of this
saying-
recording.
Okay. Alright, and this brings me to the issue of Chapter 10 and Chapter 11. I don't know whether these should be two separate chapters or one long chapter. Because if you look at Chapter 11, it's really short. Really
Now,
short.
riddle me this.
Yeah.
Did the scene change between Chapter 10 and Chapter 11? Are they in the same place, and did Chapter 11 happen right after Chapter 10?
Chapter 11 happens right after Chapter 10, where, after they get back to Reimu. Well, when they get back to Reimu.
So it is a scene change, therefore it merits.
Okay, I was just debating this for so long because I couldn't think of whether or not to make them two chapters or one chapter.
Don't be afraid
Because-
to write the occasional short chapter, okay?
It's like writing
That is-
short sentences or
Yeah, I don't know.
That is one of the delusions of bad writers. They think they have to write fucking long chapters.
Yeah.
Oh, Cock Willie GR.
You can write short chapters once in a while. In fact,
Okay, well, moving on to Chapter
I
11.
played for laughs.
Never leave them behind.
Every Captain Underpants novel has a ridiculously short chapter, which is like 2 words, and it's great. Comedy gold, yo.
I remember that. Steve-O, give me a high five for the Captain Underpants reference. I love that book series. I still love it.
I do too.
High fives to all of us
I've
then.
read it since I was a child, and I will
Me
again as a...
So remember, don't be
Alright,
afraid to
moving
write
on to Chapter
chapters.
11. Yeah. Moving on to Chapter 11. Never Leave a Man Behind. The trip was short and silent. The sounds of a dead city was their music. The wail of the wind, their conversation. Marissa let her own feet touch the ground before jumping off the broom and letting Isaac off. Ramu was looking up to the top of the mountain they stood in front of, watching it as she waited for the other two. I don't like this. They've been too quiet up there, she said before turning back to them, then jerking forward. A high-speed Danmaku shot from the top of the mountain hit her square in the back. Ramu! Isaac yelled, rushing forward and trying to... that should be catch her, not grab her. But her body had vanished before she hit the ground. All he ended up grabbing were 2 red squares. What the hell just happened? What are these? Where is Ramu? Isaac panicked. He stood up, turning back to Marissa before getting a hand across his face. Slap counter! Count 2! It's alright, we have to move! She said, grabbing the broom and giving it to him, then grabbing the yin-yang orbs and then starting to fly. I need to rephrase that one. What just... Isaac started before Marissa snapped. She took a bullet for you. That one was aimed at your heart and Marissa took... Marissa?
Oops. Go on.
She was completely calm as she knew it was just another life lost, but that didn't mean they were safe. They would be safe here. Come on, she'll be back in a few minutes. She yelled and took off, leaving Isaac there for a few moments before he slipped the 2 red squares into his pockets and took off, following Marissa. He hoped she was right that Raymond would come back soon. It was going to get this was going to get difficult, and it was going to get difficult fast.
As for merging these 2 chapters together, I actually think they should be merged together.
Yeah, after reading the context of how you had that written, should probably be merged.
Yeah.
I need to read this.
The only reason I was thinking of keeping them as 2 separate ones is because that part right there just seems like it should be an end of a chapter before I start this one. You know?
I told you to flip a coin.
I did. It came out to be 2 chapters.
But here's the thing: the transition isn't. I don't think the transition is great enough to warrant a new scene. It's like a few minutes later, not like that night or.
It's like
or
in the
weeks
story
later.
I'm reading. Every time is. Go ahead.
It's during the same type of scene, but just a couple minutes later with a few things cut out. So you would probably have one of those extra blank spaces,
Or just
implying that you've skipped a little bit of time, but you're still in the same moment.
wait, in some of the other chapters, 1 second. You don't have any of those little like lines separating stuff?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you could just use one of those.
Okay, yeah,
That
as I
would
said,
make sense.
I didn't know what to do with this. I didn't know whether to make it 2 chapters or 1, and when I asked the U-Haul, nobody really,
Gave
nobody
you a clear
really
answer?
could give me an answer.
Oh, was I on
Yeah,
that day?
I can't give you a clear answer until we see
weren't.
the thing.
No, Spaz, you weren't there.
Okay, because I was going to say that my general rule for chapters is end the chapter after a major significant event. In fact, I'll bring up a little bit of my Ditter outline right here. All of this every sequence I have is essentially a
Hello,
chapter.
Spastique. I'm here.
Don't worry, these are just tiny little bits, and
Who
like each
cares?
of them
They
ends.
still have spoilers.
Then just don't look at the screen.
Then just mute everything. Mute your sound.
But basically, it's only after every major event do I separate the scenes or chapters. Chapters, yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, for right now, I'm gonna leave it as 2 chapters, and when I go back and edit everything, then I'll combine them together.
Alright.
Alrighty.
Like I said,
Go ahead. Sorry.
like I said, even great writers. There are even some great writers who can't quite grasp when a chapter should begin or when it should end.
Yeah.
They just write the whole thing at once. Or into 3.
And then they read through it later and think about it over and over and over again.
Yeah, The reason I'm not changing anything as we do these critiques is because I did that once with a story. I asked for a critique and I changed stuff while they did it. The problem was I noticed how many mistakes I made. I double noticed them going through it again, and that really just made me feel like I'm not a good writer. This isn't good writing.
Okay.
And
Never. I'm not a very well experienced writer. I've only done really short stories and such. Never think you're not a good writer. Never
Yeah,
feel
I
that
know.
way. Never
That's
even
why
think
I'm not
that
doing
way.
any editing or anything, because I to notice my mistakes and think, wow, am I really this bad?
I heard the story. I heard the advice on your first write. Think that you're the best writer in the world. That you're infallible. That everything you write is pure gold.
That doesn't mean.
And then your second write, think that you're the worst writer.
But
Yeah,
then that
that's why
doesn't
I'm
mean-
not. That's why I'm not writing doing the second write yet, because I know as soon as I do the second write, I'm not going to be able to go back to the first write mindset ever, and on this story, I mean.
But Roy, that doesn't mean, like what Steve said, think you're the best writer in the world when it comes to your first write. That doesn't mean try and be like Rio Abstract and Willie GR. No, they took that advice too literally.
It means
Yeah.
spill out all of your ideas that you think are good, and it's like, hey, I want this idea to happen. Let
Yeah.
it out.
The thing is, think that you're the best writer in your first write, but don't upload it.
Yeah. You
In
could.
fact,
I-
I heard a quote. One of my favorite quotes is, being a writer means having a built-in foolproof shit detector. And what it basically means is be aware that you're doing, that you can make mistakes, but still go on. Like, you have the writers that think, oh, I'm perfect, like Willie GR, and they write their little stories and then have to send apology letters after we do our critiques. And then you have
Oh, it's not me.
people like you who think, oh crap, am I going to mess up? Then end up writing fiction that impresses both me and Steve-O, which is
Yeah,
quite a feat.
I'm still kind of in shock there. I impressed two of the people who basically have become my level of standard as to story writing.
You have a level of standard.
There's
story writing?
you know how everybody has a standard that they try to reach in whatever they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like me and trying to be as good as Spastic when it comes to animating. Yeah.
Like on the chart, I don't remember half of what's on the chart right now because I actually have a chart in one of my notebooks. I don't remember which one, but on there it's Spastic is one of the newer editions, and the top rank right now been held by no one else other than Robert Jordan.
I don't know who that is.
Full of time.
Oh,
Best
I see.
books
Oh.
ever.
And that's what I like about you. You know, you actually read books. You have a favorite book. That's another good sign of a good writer. A good writer has a favorite.
Goddamn
They have
book
a-
series.
They have a favorite book of all time. Or at least they have a series of books that are like, these are the greatest books ever written. These are the greatest works of fiction. I have
do movies count?
1984 and sure, why
Movies
not?
do not
I
count.
include video games too. I say 1984 is great. Earthbound is great.
Yes.
Oh,
Clockwork
that's
Orange is
so,
great.
so amazing. Okay, stop talking about this and let's get some questions from the Ustream audience and all of you guys about the story. And then let's talk about the random bullshit when we're not recording.
Woo!
Okay.
When are
So,
you gonna
papers,
start writing the
anyone-
next chapter?
What?
That's what I didn't like about Rio. I had to ask him the question, what do you think are the greatest stories of all time? I had to ask him that 3 times because the first 2 times he gave me bullshit answers.
But
Yeah,
That's how I could tell. Oh no, I'm dealing with one of those guys.
Evo, actually, bringing this up, you reminded me, my favorite book of all time, I will never stop saying this, but my favorite just general book is actually there's two that have tied for my favorite book.
Spit it out.
The first one is an actual published book. It's a book.
What are
it's
the titles?
called?
Spit it out, spit it out.
Maximum Ride, The Angel Experiment is the first
Oh,
one.
I love that book.
Oh, that was a good book.
I just
And
love the story of it
Yeah,
and
here.
everything. It's pretty fun.
You can't say it
And
like
the
this
second,
because it is
the
a good
second book is actually a fan fiction that got published in the free section of Nooks and Kindles and stuff. It's A Silent Hero. It's a Zelda fan fiction, and I like the story. It's pretty well written.
Okay.
I haven't read it for like a year and a half, but it's a good book. It's not bad.
Roy, do you know what spit it out means?
Say it.
You know what spit it out means? I know
Say it
it's
as quick as you possibly can.
spit it out.
Sorry.
Get to the point, basically.
Yeah, sorry. I'll
Granted,
admit.
he had a whole thought process he wanted to get across.
When I'm at one of my favorite books, I just spout off titles. 1984. Tragedy is wait, that's a play. Fiddler wait, that's a play.
It still involves
Earthbound,
story.
wait, that's a video game.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Fiddler on the Roof. Earthbound. Clockwork Orange.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I have.
Funny thing is, the last book I read, the last play, it was a play. I'm in a playwriting class. It was one of the required reading. This was pretty much his experimental book, saying, I don't know, is this good? My teacher was all like, I don't know, is this good for this class? No. At
Oh, we
first,
got a question.
I really.
Why was
Oh.
the chapter short? Why doesn't it make it longer? Let's see. Well, why was the chapter short, and why doesn't it make it a little longer? It's a quote verbatim.
Okay. Chapter short. The reason is because I didn't know whether to make those two separate chapters or make them one chapter.
He
Yeah,
expressed
that's
that
why
like
it was
4
short.
times.
We
The
mentioned
reason
that.
I don't make it longer is because I'm just going to combine the two chapters in the end anyway.
I think we'll wait about 1 or 2 more minutes to see if anyone else has any more questions about Mind the Gap.
Comments, questions, suggestions, or if you even just want to say "fuck you," go ahead.
Oh, I have
sorry,
a question that still has yet to be
I want to
answered.
rant now. Sorry.
Okay.
Can I ask this real fast?
Before you're at your question, Ab, or before the rant, I have to answer this question because, yes, to Kluzzik or whatever, it was actually started as an unofficial bet between me and Spastic. We never officially made it a bet, but I just, after listening to one episode of Lost in Gensokyo, I was like, I can write better than this. I don't even know Toho, and I can write better than this. I can write a better fan fiction knowing next to nothing about Toho than this. And I told Spastic that.
And he did. For 10 chapters so far.
Still next to nothing about Toho. I know.
But the difference being, you could be like Willie GR and not do the research.
Actually, I haven't done any research.
That's the kind of point of this goal, is that he's supposed to do it with the current knowledge he has. So instead of making things heavily based off of the Gensokyo canon, he's making stuff that could be assumed pretty generally and focus more on Isaac himself rather than on the whole logistics and everything of Gensokyo.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Also,
Yeah, it's
Hydrogems wonders, do you think Mind the Gap would be a success or failure?
What do you mean?
Originally?
Originally, I thought, that's actually where the main part of the bet came. My thoughts for it were, if it's bad, Spastic will riff it and I'll learn how to get better. If it's good, he'll put it up on YouTube. So either way, I get publicity.
And going in,
Shameless self-promotion.
I had no expectations. I was thinking, okay, this could be bad, it could be good. Let's find out. This guy is taking a bold move, trying to make a a good Gappy fix, so let's find out.
Oh, stupid move.
And I desperately
It was
wanted
creative.
to find something to rip about this fic, but I can't. It's good.
I agree.
God, I made something Spaz can't rip. Hoorah!
Wow.
Fantastic. It's like when you asked me to rip your story that you wrote, and I only couldn't find hardly anything except for a few jokes.
That's the thing.
Okay.
You were in the position I was in.
Yeah, Ab, what's your question that hasn't been answered yet?
When are you gonna write chapter 12?
I started writing chapter 12, which will now become chapter 11, yesterday. I just ran into some serious writer's block.
Okay.
Which actually stemmed from not knowing whether to make this chapter shorter or longer.
Well, now you
Right.
answer.
Follow-up question.
And I'm back. Hey guys.
Follow-up question. When are you gonna finish the story? Ow! When are you gonna finish?
I would have finished it by today if I didn't have the writer's block.
One thing.
I
God.
really wanted to have it finished by today.
If I wasn't actually here for the critique, I'd say this is something I would want to read on my own if I knew about it or came across, because this is pretty good.
I'm tempted. I don't know what I want to do now. I don't remember what I was going to say anymore.
Okay, and Steve-O, you said you had a rant?
My rant. Alrighty. Like, I didn't like Clybourne Park. I think this is one of the many reasons I don't like Heart of Darkness. Shut up, Spaz. Is that those stories? You know, they're too caught up in its specific time and specific place and specific culture, and you already have to know a thing or two about stuff, and it feels like it excludes people who are not in the loop for things. I mean, once I learned about Clybourne Park and how it's actually a spin-off of Raisin in the Sun, like, oh, that's why it's so popular. It's a big fat reference to a better play. That's why. Oh, that's how it won a Pulitzer. Anyway, but break aside. Once I actually learned.
You're coming in quiet,
the
man.
Situations in Clybourne Park, I actually appreciated it more, and the reason Spasty can appreciate Heart of Darkness. And
I can barely hear you, Steve-O.
Yeah, we can barely hear you, man.
And
kinda quiet.
the reason
There we go.
I can appreciate Clybourne Park. I can appreciate Clybourne Park now, but not when I read it, was because I knew a few things about that play. I knew about housing situations and racism in Chicago and shit, and Raisin in the Sun. And the same reason Spasty can appreciate Heart of Darkness and I can't is that he's in on the loop with Heart of Darkness. He might as well be from 1900s, gay 90s Britain. He not so much.
Cheerio.
Oh, good lord.
Oh,
Why do you think he does such a good
Not so much. I'm a 1770s American. All right. I'm Enlightenment era.
Your enlightenment.
But I feel like one of the things that makes great stories great is, prepare for big fancy word, universality.
Wait, what? What is that word? What does it mean? I actually have no clue.
Universality. Piece that apart. Universal itty.
Okay, so it's basically.
I have a
Why-
base idea of what it means, but I'm not quite positive.
Truly great stories can be understood by anyone. They transcend time, place, color, culture, and creed.
Yes.
and even Roy here, he's made a couple references. He pointed out himself in some of the earlier chapters, like the scene with Nitori and the disc.
But
What was the reference with the disc?
I forget, but
I don't
you mentioned.
I don't remember exactly what you're talking about. My memory is pretty bad.
And to an
honestly.
extent, Roy is expressing that universality that he doesn't have to know much about Toho to make a good Toho fic.
Mm-hmm.
But
He
anything
just
that,
wants to make a good story.
yeah, and anything that does go into the universe that you're talking about or the culture, anyone who is actually part of the culture will get any inside jokes or references, and that's cool. But
It's
it's
like-
not the main basis of what they need to know. And in
It's-
fact, you can learn about a culture from it.
It's like with some mangas, they'll have like the original Japanese version and they won't have to add anything at the beginning. But when they release them in America and they're in English, they'll have to put in some of like a dictionary for some things at the beginning or at the end of the story to explain some of the culture and all of that.
But that's just part of the setting. I like to think of like every story should have its like self-contained setting, symbols, culture, whatever. It's just that the focus on human behavior supersedes all of that.
Actually, I don't mind if a story has local flavor.
Yeah, same
In
here.
fact, it's very possible, and great books. These great books I'm talking about, they've done it. They've done it beautifully. They've had local flavor, or they had a specific pseudo-cultural thing going on. But at the same time, they were universal.
Anyways.
I can't believe a fic I wrote out of just pure having the cojones to do something extremely stupid. Yes, the cojones to do something extremely stupid, like write a fic about something I know nothing about, has sparked this much critique and praise, slightly, not to toot my own horn, and just discussion, really.
Well, you better start believing, because I'm
back to
certainly
the-
enjoying it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's part of the writing process is spreading ideas.
It's
Yeah.
like me. It's like me. It's hard to captivate me when it comes to reading. I'm either having to choose something or I am like,
Crystal sticks.
yeah, I'm either forced into something or I choose to read it. You have actually done very well when it comes to actually getting me to read it. I mean, I didn't really want to. I just got bored one day, like, sure, I'll rip it with ya. And you actually stole my brain with this.
Yeah,
I can say that about very little books.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what I said earlier about how if this was just me going out looking for something to read nice, this would be something I would enjoy, not because I'm just in the critique.
If I buy the book, I'd be happy. An actual book of Mind the Gap.
You know, there are
I-
people who like 50 Shades of Grey started as a Twilight fic. If you and you said you came into this not knowing anything about the Toho characters. If you just, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you would be able to just remake all the characters into original ones and then somehow be able to publish it.
Publish
Really?
it into a
But
writer's
with
magazine. or something.
BDSM.
And with that note, I'm gonna move back because there's a question we've been ignoring for about 5 minutes now.
Yes.
A guy named Sky asked, stupid chat, stop derping on me. So I can-
Everyone, stop talking in the
Question
chat.
Hey, person that made the fic, how do you feel about yourself that Spazzy can't riff your fic? Well, I'm not quite sure how to feel because I honestly wrote this to try and get it riffed. I didn't think I would be good at writing this fic.
Dude, you're golden at the moment.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Winter for Poland and France.
Anyway,
Boy, if I were you, I would honestly feel.
if it was bad, you'd go for it. Seriously,
I'm kind of like
not bad.
I'm kind of like unsure how to feel.
Feel
If I were you,
proud.
I would feel blessed.
I mean, I feel really good, but I'm like, what the fuck
You're under arrest for fraud.
My goal so epically that I succeeded. Because, as I said, my goal was to get this riff, to write something fantastic in riff, and we can all laugh about.
And now you're going to get arrested for fraud because it wasn't a flop.
It was actually a
so hard that I
It's such
won.
a failure in one area that it's a succession in another.
Yes.
I failed at failing, as I said, I failed at failing so hard that I won.
How does it begin? He started with this. He came into my office with this cockamamie scheme. You can make more riffs with the flop than with the heads. We can do it. We can write it. I can't write it. We can write it. Oh God, I want that riff. I'm back, Spaz. Come on, Chibi. We can do it. Step 1, find the play. No.
What? What?
It's from the musical version of the producers.
I know, but
But still, no. If you, that's the thing. If you go into a riff thinking, okay, there's a chance I can, no, not a riff, a story thinking there's a chance I can fail, and then you succeed, that's good. Because as the improv teacher Keith Johnstone once put it, people don't want to pay to see a guy walk a tightrope that's on the ground. They want to see him walk that tightrope between two skyscrapers without a harness. Because the chance that you can fail is more entertaining than walking arrogantly over a tightrope.
Roy, you were very cognizant that you could have failed. That means you were taking...
It wasn't that I could have failed. It was I was trying to fail.
And expecting to fail.
The thing
I
is...
was expecting something bad just by my normal writing style.
Well,
and
my point
it's
is...
so you guys could riff it, and I could get into the group by having, hey, read this stupid bad stories that we can all laugh about.
But you're too good.
You took a risk. And that's something a lot of writers, not just fanfic writers, just a lot of writers, period, don't do. And you know what? I admire that. As
So what you're saying is I have the cojones to jump in head first when I don't know how deep the water is.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Get experience.
I have actually
What did
done
you
that
do? You got it.
Holy crap, I just lost the chat.
yeah.
Well, the thing
and
is
as
I
far
could-
as the movie earlier, the only things there were only two
Hey,
things
Duke,
that
I'm
would have had
here.
an effect on me, and
Hey
that was
Nuke,
a
I'm
certain
here. Hey
princess
Nuke,
and a
I'm here.
tail.
Hey Nuke, I'm here. Hey Nuke, I'm here.
Hello, Steve.
No
Lynn, how are
spoilers
you
to
today?
Steve-O.
Nuclear. Also, we're not talking about that. Were you? Have you been here?
No, I was away on a phone call.
So what are you
Well,
doing
we're
talking
weird
about?
with mine, yeah. So
Idiot.
It's okay, Nuke.
Black. I'm the writer, Chibi Chen. Just so you know.
or
Because
roll.
Black Ace asked who is who.
Roy
So-
is Juby Chen, our fellow writer.
He
Yes.
is one of the
I'm always
best
Wasn't controlled by
writers.
him talking all the time lately.
That's actually a running joke between the station wagon members and the fact that I'm Momiji is because everybody tried to be Yomu for a day. I was like, fuck you guys, I'm being fucking Momiji.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then the entire call just turned into weeboo, like what we have on.
We didn't get to keep it up for Spaz to see. We would have fucking been great. It would have been funny too.
Yeah, we all wanted to be Yomu.
Speaking of which, well, I guess we'll wrap it
Speaking
up after one or two more questions.
Alright,
Then
we
move
already
on
know.
to everyone wants to F
I
Yomo.
gotta get a drink. I gotta get a drink, then go to the bathroom. But don't start improv till I come back. ID.
Roger that, man. Roger that.
I am Mamoru reporting for
No,
duty.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no.
No.
no, no.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
No,
Oh,
no, 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 no.
I will point this out.
No, no.
In the last improv.
Guys, I demand that we do this. Right after we finish my staff.
Roy,
What?
Chris speaking first.
Sorry.
Continue, Chris.
That was me.
What? No, I was just going no repeatedly.
Anyway,
Okay.
I will make this apparent. Yo signed a consent form at the beginning of the last episode of the last or the.
It's true.
Oh, think I should wrap up the recording?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Alrighty.
this has been Spastic, and these have been these people.
Who's talks best?
I am Crystal.
I hope you all enjoyed the fic. I know I did.
So, good night.
I'm really liking this.
Even listening to the fic, and I had a great time.